The next couple of days are going to be some of the most important days for crypto, potentially ever. And if you've got no idea what's about to happen, let me introduce it to you. I'm about to tell you exactly what's going to occur over the next few days, how it could affect you, your holdings, your portfolio, and what I'm going to do. Because it's going to get really juicy here, ladies and gentlemen. Really quite crazy. But before we dive into anything, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on this video if you've not done it yet. And it's time to get rolling, because over the next few days, like I just said, a couple of very important things are going to occur. Let me quickly refresh this so y'all can see it. There we go. And let me quickly put it to the Dubai time zone so I'm a little bit more on the right track. So over the next few hours, we're going to be getting ourselves the unemployment rate numbers in the US and the NARM farm payrolls. I think it's about an hour from now, but most likely when I upload this video, it'll already have happened. It's also not going to change your life at all, so do not fret. Do not worry, nothing's going to happen here. It's just sometimes interesting numbers to watch for volatility, but relative to the other numbers that are going to be coming out over the next week here or so, this is nothing. Because as you can see, right, that is Friday, November 1st, which is today. Over the next week on Tuesday, we've got ourselves the presidential election. Now, this is obviously quite a big deal. For anybody that does not understand why, go dig a hole or something. What's wrong with you? Everybody should understand why a presidential election is quite a big deal. But specifically, this presidential election, we've got two sides, right? We've got them for the most part, Kamala and Trump. Trump being extremely pro-crypto, Kamala being has shown some positive crypto signs, but is not necessarily pro-crypto. It's been pro-Gary Gensler, which I'm not really a big fan of. And Trump has said, well, basically all the damage that's been done, we want to rectify it. We want to make the US the crypto place. Then again, I'm also a logician by saying Trump can say anything he wants to win and then never end up doing anything good for crypto. Then again, because he's launching his own project and doing all these things, it does make more sense as a real money man for him to open it up. Because think about it, right? Just my thoughts. As Trump, as a president really, that's been known for his business ventures, it does also make sense if you want to really capitalize on this opportunity of being the center of crypto, because there's just so much money in it, rather than being, the shy guy and staying away from it all because of safety or whatever, or because it takes away some power of the US dollar. Regardless, that's about to happen on November 5th, and you can already understand that whatever comes out is going to drastically change everything when it comes to crypto, just everything. Now, I will say that whoever wins this year is going to be a very, very weird endeavor. And what I mean with that is, last cycle, feels like crypto when I say that, but the last time around, a lot of news outlets were extremely fast, and it ended up being either wrong or suspected to be wrong. This time around, most likely, some of them are going to start focusing slightly more on accuracy, because even though they all want to be first, and some might go into the predictive route, because of all the claims of false presidency, voter fraud, polling failures, yada, 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 most outlets will still post it regardless, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying there's going to be a lot of skepticism, most likely this time around again as well. Obviously, we saw back then, 4 years ago, what Trump was stating. And perhaps this time around it will get even crazier. And now, if we take a look at the polls, I'm not sure what it would be by the time I upload this. Anyway, I wanted to say none of them have a very significant favor, in the sense of that it's a guaranteed victory. But there is some expectation now that if Trump loses again, some very interesting spirals are going to come out. But before we move on, there is one little thing I have to talk about here. And that's because this is one of the things I am most bullish on right now. And I think it will go over a lot of people's heads. And at first, I wanted to skip it because Bitcoin was falling, but right now it seems to be recovering hard. And there's a project, Mythical Games here. Well, it's quite a lot larger, but they just posted a new announcement. The news is out. Play Pudgy Party is coming. Mythical Games and Pudgy Penguins are bringing you the ultimate mobile knockout royal game with drops, new characters, yada yada dibbity doo. One announcement does not really mean too much, but I'm telling you a few things. One is they've already made quite a lot of announcements over a long period of time. It's not a one-off thing. And with quite a lot of massive new things coming up over the next few weeks to months, specifically a little bit, they've got some really exciting things coming. Let me just put it like that. That made me buy some, and I'm honestly telling you right now, man to man, give it a little look is all I'm telling you, because I cannot predict where things will be in like a month from now. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm expecting some really crazy things for the project. And again, I think it will go under most people's radars until all of a sudden it goes really fast. Like a while back, all of a sudden overnight, it seems they also increased their myth holders by just a crazy amount in a span of nothing. I don't know exactly why that happened. Maybe again, another crazy announcement. But just to understand, I've been reading through these announcements and I've realized one thing. The gaming narrative is going to be absolutely massive throughout the bull market. We all know it. But which ones are we going to go for? Well, in this case here, myth has been quite undervalued rather than overhyped to the freaking max for the size that they have and for the IPs that they're working with. So once more, it's definitely recommended to give it a little look. Again, this new IP drop is cool, sure, but I'm expecting many different ones to drop. I'm expecting quite a lot of cool things for the Mythos chain. Again, give it some time though. Give it about maybe a few months here. But if gaming pops off, if we see a gaming super cycle, I think the Mythos chain is going to pop off. Myth will do really well. Again, my honest thoughts here, I really believe so. And if I'm wrong, that's the outlier instead of the opposite way. I really do believe we got something juicy here. Anyway, we'll talk about it in a month or two and we'll see, because I'll get back to this. It's a little under the radar thingy that Anyway, let's move on. Then again, that is what's happening on November 5th, the start of it all, the start of a lot of crazy things that are about to happen. So that is there. Now, a few days afterwards, though, and again, the presidential election will definitely shadow everything. So just so you know, this is like so much bigger than anything else I can think of. But given a little bit of credit where it's due, the federal interest rate decision on the 7th of November, so 2 days afterwards, generally speaking, is also an extremely important event. Again, we are expecting a rate cut of 25 basis points, 0.25%, from 5 to 4.75%. And generally speaking, that's quite bullish for the markets. And yeah, I'm honestly not expecting any crazy crypto market moves based on this news, to be completely open with you. I mean, I'm gonna be real, it depends slightly on what the stock market is gonna look like at the time. I mean, if just before we had some really positive days, it could actually impact it. See, that's the funny thing, right? Even though interest rate cuts, theoretically speaking, are a very positive thing, if there's too much of a rate cut in too slow a period or too short a period, sometimes it can actually work adversely. And then again, also, if the stock market has been acting too much in a certain way slightly before the event, or if the result deviates from the number that is expected, you can expect quite a lot of volatility. And that's mostly based on the idea of the lower your interest rate goes, right? The more you are encouraging spending, because the cost of capital by that point gets lower. So the idea is that people are going to spend more, money's going to go out there, blah, blah, blah. You're going to borrow more, you're going to save less. And that ultimately inflation goes back up. And then as inflation goes up, you also increase the interest rate to get the inflation lowered. These are lagging indicators. They're not perfect in any way, shape, or form. It's just to give you an idea, because the higher the cost of capital, the more likely you are to save up money, and also the less likely you are to start a new real estate project, because instead of borrowing at 1%, you have to borrow at 6%, so you're less likely to do it because it's less likely to be profitable, or rather, you're more likely to extend this consumption or production into the future. And that's ultimately what's happening here. They want to limit the consumption. Well, at the end of the day, in all of this, making sure that consumption and production in that state doesn't go down enough where eventually you get negative GDP growth. You never want to get into a recession, or for example, things become too expensive in too short a time that you wreck everything. But in this case also, if they decrease the interest rate and people start going crazy, it might again spiral out of control too fast, which is why it's always such a big hassle to see what number would be good, and why always this little conference afterwards is quite interesting, because they give their thoughts on partially the number that they gave, but more importantly, what they're thinking of the near future, 0.25, 0.5, and their thoughts as to why and why that would work the best. But usually they're actually quite vague with it. But I guess most economists that are watching this on a more daily basis, they understand. Now, coin-wise, how we doing, you might ask? Yeah, pretty average. I mean, Bitcoin's down like 3% on the day still, but maybe by the time I upload this, because I accidentally forgot to publish my video earlier today, so this has to be, I always have to leave like a few hours in between, otherwise nobody's gonna watch the first video, because these are news updates, so everybody skips the first news update if you post the second one straight away. But this one doesn't really have that much of a hurry, because it's about events from like the next few days anyway. So theoretically speaking, I could post this video in like 3 days and still be fine. But I want you guys to be more prepared for the election, etc. That's why I'm posting it earlier. But normally I do this like 48 hours before. Anyway, right now, quite neutral of a market. Yes, Bitcoin's going down like 3% or so, but the majority of this downfall was actually yesterday. Today has actually been quite a positive day, as the price when I last checked was below 70,000. Right now we're slightly above. Almost nothing though is actually going up, so rather I'd say it's quite a negative day, but mostly earlier in the 24 hours it was quite negative. Right now we're actually slightly on the up and up. Then again, this number does not perfectly project that just quite yet. If you're wondering what are we expecting, almost nobody that I've spoken to is expecting a massive push downwards. I have seen some predictions. Even one of my analysts has said 48,000 is coming. I made a joke about it over on Twitter, but it does not seem likely of us to fall down that low. Then again, like I told you guys, I did sell some at 71.8 thousand bucks and then at 72.9, I think. So a few $100s away from the top of the top, and my first sell was like $1,200 or $1,400 away from the top. But hey, like I've been stating for a while here, it is fine. Your goal is not to find the top of the top, and your goal can slightly differ from what else somebody else is doing. For example, I personally like sometimes to, I was gonna say I like to swing, but I meant, right? I like to sometimes do some swing trades where you're trying to buy low and sell high. But I will admit that I have multiple different, let me quickly open this bad boy up. So for example, for Doge, right now I'm still in 217, you can half-ass see it. 217% profit, but I actually sold most of this position. It is right now only, let's quickly check. It's only in okay, this is more difficult than you might think, all right? How do I get it to, I should do it in front of my face. There we go. It's only in $4,322 worth of profit. And the Bitcoin trade, the main one, is also still only, about 130% profit, which in this case is only $6,000 left because again, I sold most of it off. And if any of you want an update on the stream account is a trade I opened with you guys in the stream like a year ago, maybe something like that. It is in 1,054% profit, which is roughly 21.6K USD. There we go, $21,600 US. And we opened this with 1,500 bucks. But there's a couple of interesting things that have happened. Right now, the trade is actually $2,000 because I sold some off for paying the fees because you have to pay funding fees whenever you have these trades open. So then I got from 1,500, sold 10% to 1,350. But then afterwards, I noticed, hey, this is actually a pretty good dip. Let me see exactly where that was. I cannot, wait a minute. Okay, so the last time I added to this position, okay, never mind. I've actually added quite often to this position, with the last time that I added being the 5th of August when things started to go really low at 50,700. And that was, again, just like, almost 3 months ago now at this time. Before that was the same day at 54,000 almost. Before that was the day before at 57.7. Before that was a week before that at 66.7. So that's kind of funny. And a little bit before that, 1 week before was 66.2. So I added like only $100 each time, maybe less. No, I actually only added 0.001 Bitcoin at the highest point and then 0.059 Bitcoin to this trade at the lowest point. So I just kept incrementing a little bit. So yeah, that doubled the position almost. That's quite nice. Still extremely small, but it's about the idea. And then I also have another trading account. You'll probably see a video about this somewhere later. And I just opened this exactly on that dip day. It is, let's see. I put $1,000 in. Nope, that's not true. I put $60 in. You guys will see it later. I have a whole scheme planned for this. I have a funny video that I wanted to make. And I thought, let me try starting out with like $100. At the time it was 50, but now I'm thinking maybe $100 would have been better. And then see how far I can get my way up there. Right now it is in, I'll show you. It's in 450. There we go. 450% profit, which is roughly 300 USD. There we go, 294. I know it's like the opposite way. But we started this with, like I said, and even now still you can see, there's only, it's almost no point in showing you, but there's, next time we're going to find out a way to get this phone on the computer. I think there's a way now with the new Mac software. Anyway, this position was started with $64, right now in $300 worth of profit. When I open this, let's see. I've been trading it a little bit too much to say that, but the last time was the 6th of September at 53.6 thousand USD, and that's ultimately what my entry price is at. So I might have actually sold the position before getting here. It might be that I got from $50 to 60 or 63 to put that into this trade. I don't quite remember. But yeah, if you want more of those updates, I had a channel for it, but I realized most people only come here for the altcoin updates, not really for daily trading or things like that. If you guys really are interested though, just let me know. I just kind of go with wherever people really want to see. And I think altcoin updates are what people come here for. But I have a different channel for trading. If you guys are interested, let me know and we'll get to it. That's about it. See you guys later in another one.